Start the recording. Hello and welcome everybody. I'm TychoCelchuuu and this is a company heroes 2 shoutcast that is currently being live broadcast on twitch.tv. You can go watch my other fucking 2 shoutcasts I just made if you want to find my Twitch TV URL. If you don't, that's cool too. I would definitely suggest it. It'd be pretty sweet. DX3 is warning me about storage. I wonder if I'm running out of disk space. Well, if I am, this will never be posted, but it will be streamed, so it won't be a waste. That actually feels pretty good. And it'll actually be archived on Twitch too, so I could maybe rip that and upload. Okay, God. So CoH2 is the American player, extremely good player, as many of you know, and Simply Disobedient. You may recognize from one of my earlier shoutcasts like 10 minutes ago. Also pretty cool. Playing as the OKW versus the United States. The United States has picked the doctrine right off the bat, but is not building the Jeep yet. We don't have the 20 fuel, and we also don't have the 240 manpower because we've got 2 riflemen open. So notice this is not an ASAP WC-51 military truck with 50 cal HMG. This is not ASAP because we've sunk some of the manpower into the riflemen. And so it's going to be a little late, even if Paul wants to get that Jeep as soon as possible, or even if Paul wants to get that Jeep soon, and we have a Kubel opening from the German. Great. Let's wait till something happens. DX3 is definitely freaking out about storage, so nothing I can do about that. Nothing I can do. My backup drive is only so... Oh, actually, maybe I can delete some shit. Let's pause real fast. Give me 10 seconds. Pause, and I'll pause the recording. Alright, just fucking kidding. I'm back. DX3 is being a fucking baby. It's got plenty of disk space on my stupid disk, so I don't know what that shit... So we also don't have Kubelwagen spam. We just have one Kubel for the folks, and we got the clown car. Good to go. Crank it up. Crank that shit to the max. Ooh, and we have an engagement. These Strim Pioneers, oh man, that's gotta hurt. Forced to retreat. It's such a long retreat. It means they're gonna be able to take lots and lots of damage from this Jeep if it decides to chase them all the way back. And even if it doesn't decide to chase them all the way back, they'll still take like half their fucking health bar, and they've got the other half of the fucking map to run. You never like to see that. You never like to retreat from so far away because you waste so much time. You never like to retreat from that far away when there's a vehicle because you'll take so much damage. Just the worst of all worlds. You especially don't want that. Sturm Pioneers forced off so fast and them taking so much damage. So the worst of everything for the poor OKW. But the Kubel does get some good damage along with the folks in on the 50 cal. Along with these folks, the 50 cal is probably going to get pretty beat up. We'll see how long it stays in the fight. And it looks like it's just to get disembark the riflemen so that they can stick around while this retreats and heals up once it gets too low. Poor rifleman took a lot of damage from that though, so nobody's having a happy fun time over here. An interesting choice garrisoning these riflemen in the building. That's to keep them safe from the Kubelwagen, which actually is not interested in fighting anyways. But that's an interesting choice, right? So it is going to keep them pretty safe from the Kubelwagen. It's not going to be able to do a lot of damage to them, and frankly, it's going to take some pretty good damage trying to fight them because there's a lot of windows on all the sides of this house. So that's a really safe place for the riflemen. But of course, that is a really massive trade-off because they're not going anywhere when they're doing anything. They're not going anywhere doing anything when they're in that building. The most important point being they're not fighting, or they're not capturing any points, and that's a real big downer, especially this early in the game when you're skirmishing over these points. But the United States, I guess, doesn't care. Hoyplet has pushed forward so far that he's got 3 VPs, and so he's feeling pretty good about map control. He's happy to keep those riflemen in there, even happy to move these riflemen past the munitions point and I guess go to the fuel, decap the fuel. Hey, there's a cat. Go decap the fuel and see how that happens, because that's some pretty good ultra aggression right there. So looking pretty good for the Americans at this point. Now just holding up in here with the rear echelon, and the German player are gonna have to figure out what to do to dislodge. A grenade would be helpful, but you need to tech up for a grenade, so that's not gonna happen. So I guess the German just fucking twiddles his German little thumbs and waits for, I don't know, what do you wait for? What do you do as the Germans? I guess when your opponent's sunk 2 squads into the right-hand side, one of which is stuck in a building, you start focusing on the left-hand side, which is exactly what we see the German player doing, and also, I guess, amorphously moving in behind, cutting off the Americans. That's interesting. Cut off not in the technical sense by decapping these points, but also, I mean, in a technical sense by decapping these points, but mainly in the normal sense of cutting off the opponent. Namely, if the American wants to get those riflemen out of there, it's either going to be a long, long retreat of the kind that was the pain in the ass for the Sturm Pioneers, or they're going to have to go through enemy lines, which, to be fair, is not very impressive enemy lines. These Volksgrenadiers are pretty beat up at this point. Dextry fucking whining about storage in the upper left-hand side of my screen, which you guys can't see. I don't know why it's whining about that shit. You've got a million fucking gigabytes open on your recording hard drive. So here's an exciting fight. Rifleman in a building versus Volksgrenadiers in a building and behind a thing, and also soon a Kubelwagen. I don't know why it's backing up like that. This is a good choice for the rifles. These guys, I feel like they've outstayed their welcome. I feel like Paul has fucking forgotten. Nope, there we go. So just as I said, they've outstayed their welcome, they get out. That's how you know I have good game sense. Oh yeah, Tycho is so good. Tycho knows things about video games. On a scale of 1 to 10, Tycho's at least a 3. And that's being modest. Because Tycho's other virtues include modesty. Whew, what a fucking mess this fight is. German lines completely collapsing. Oh god, that was painful. What looked like an envelopment turned into a full-on fucking rout. The clown car, when equipped with a bar, turns out to be the clown car from hell, which, let's face it, most clowns come straight from hell. And that was just real bad for the Germans. Might even lose a Kubelwagen here if this thing grows some balls. I shouldn't say grow some balls. It's definitely got some balls already. It's fully equipped with testicles. Those come default. But, if it grew another pair of balls like the Krogan in Mass Effect, I could totally hunt down the Kubel. I would like to see that. There's no reason not to just fucking go for blood versus this Kubelwagen. With the 50 cal plus the bar, I don't think that Kubelwagen would have any chance. Zero chance. The chances it would have could be counted on the fingers of one head. And not like a fucked up Fallout head that has mutated fingers. I'm talking literally 0 heads. My viewer count is plummeting precipitously as I tell these weird jokes. But that's okay, there's one person left, so that's all we need. And I have a cat on my lap. So let's count the cat as a viewer. Do you want to be a viewer, kitty? Cat does not give a shit. So they're back. They're back in the building. This building, which is eventually going to give the German player an ulcer. I feel like 80% of the time the German player has been effectively unaware of the building, so hasn't gotten any sort of ulcer. No sort of pains. Look at this! Decapping the fuel. It's like 2 can play at that game, but I'm worse at it. So that's not working out super well. Still worth a try, I suppose. Ability is active. Yeah, it took him a fucking while to throw that rifle grenade, but it paid off because that Kubel is down and out. And we have a nice machine gun, just catches them on the edge of the arc. I would be feeling painful. I'd have a fucking ulcer over that if I were the fucking Germans, because there's no way that machine gun should even have been shooting at my squad. Going from 3 to 2 is a significant drop, says Zombie Francis, vis-a-vis my viewer count. Yes, it's a significant drop percentage-wise, but person-wise, it's almost nothing. And considering I have 1 million YouTube subscribers, I don't feel too bad about that. I just need to build my Twitch fan base up to a point where it's like 1/10 as big as the YouTube fan base, and then I'll have 1 million viewers. Exciting. Oh god, what a time to burn. That could be the Germans' ticket back into this game. Straight back. Where's the fucking Jeep? Did it die when I wasn't even looking? It's never died. It's always the crew has dismounted to repair it, but it looks like it died. Oh god, where did it die? Hopefully somebody in chat, like the one person in chat, was fucking watching the minimap. How did the Jeep die? Ooh, Fallschirmjägers, where are them? Could have predicted that, I suppose. Right behind the machine gun. This is looking better and better for the Germans. The Jeep is somehow dead. The Panzer II is out at the perfect time. We don't have a tech to captain yet. The Fallschirmjäger is actually going to die, so that's an expensive 440 manpower. Really expensive 440 manpower. And doesn't even get a squad really for it. Recrewing the MG means it doesn't count. Oh, withdraw and refit. I'm a fucking idiot. Thank you. This is why I should stream every shoutcast on Twitch, because people who watch it are smarter than me. Zombie Francis points out that the Jeep went to withdraw and refit, which is always where the Jeeps go. No, not or just in fucking time, because the Panzer II is out, and it would, of course, shredded the Jeep. So great play there from the Americans. That's pretty much what can be expected. And so the German player was looking pretty good. Was that a fucking AT grenade from downtown? I mean, it must have been. There's nothing else that could have been. But yeah, that was from downtown, and so the Panzer II is really beat up. Luckily, Sturm Pioneer is still alive. So we have another Panzer II coming out. Yeah, God, I was saying something, and then I forgot what it was. Well, anyways, German player totally back in this game. Civilly disputing your Stuttgart reconnaissance pass. Yeah, it sees everything. Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, give me some of that recon. Especially on a long map like this, it's just so luxurious. It just flies the whole length of the map. And it's just like, ah, yes. I see it all. I see everything. So good. Twice now I've forgotten what I was talking about. So do you think we're going to see any Fallschirmjägers again anytime soon? They're so expensive, and oh, now we have a captain, teched up to a captain, so that'll be good versus the Panzer IIs if he gets the little Shreks out, and of course we can now build AT guns. Or you can build AT guns already. No, good, right. Okay, I'm not fucking losing my mind. The captains are the AT gun. I almost can't believe I almost forgot that. That's so important. I think if there's one thing I know in Company Heroes 2, it's what tiers you get the AT guns at, just because I'm fucking obsessed with AT guns. AT guns are my bays. B-A-E, as the kids would say these days. That's what it was. It wasn't an AT grenade from downtown. It was a Shrek or a bazooka on the rear echelons for Lord knows what reason. They actually seem to be surprisingly resilient versus this Panzer II. Oh my Jesus Lord Christ on a candlestick. He's just shoved it up his fucking ass because I was not expect. Oh my God, these people are earning their vet 3. Don't you get, when it goes back to base, they're going to be able to reinforce up to five people, because that's what you get at vet 3. You stream Holy Balls, says KPED97. Yes, as of today, literally today, is my first Company Heroes 2 stream. Shoutcast. Suppressive fire. So here's a Stuart. So the balance of power has once again swung drastically into the Americans' thingy. I really want to talk about the Fallschirmjägers next time they came out, but there was too much shit happening at that time. This time the squad didn't die, but the Fallschirmjägers were unable to protect the original Panzer II, so that's bad news. Either K-Pen or Zombie Friends is left because I'm down to 1 viewer, but that's okay because I'm so excited for the Stuart. I'm pumped. So I guess the Stuart's plan is to take out the Panzer II. That's perfectly acceptable, legitimate plan. When you tech to something like this, your first goal should be removing the most dangerous thing the opponent's got, and also using your thing to counter whatever it is that it counters. The Stuart at this point counters everything, except I suppose these people with the Shrek. But insofar as they counter the Panzer II, and it's the most impressive thing the opponent's got, you want to go straight for the jugular, and that the possibility of that, here we go, Stuart meta, says KPEN97. Well, you know, it's a Stuart tank. What do you expect? This has been the meta since the original, actually not the original Brothers in Arms, maybe the original Brothers in Arms game, maybe Brothers in Arms Earned in Blood, but anyways, one of those games you got to direct a Stuart around, maybe both those games, and ever since then, the Stuart has been the most important tank in the world. So, yeah, the Stuart's job is being made much, much easier by the fact that there's only one Panzer II on the field. These Fallschirmjägers need some healing. He doesn't even have the healing thing, which makes sense. I don't know why we would have thought that the healing thing is even an option. This building is, again, a redoubt. A redoubt is, I think, a defensive fortification. That's what I think that word means. I don't get it used. I don't see it used a lot in conversation because people normally don't have options to, or opportunities to talk about military tactics. But anyways, the house is once again a redoubt. This time the lieutenant is in there. The lieutenant's not going to budge for a while, so players take note. Paul fucking loves that house, so if that house is not part of your strategic repertoire, consider why not, and why is it part of Paul's repertoire. Even when Paul does not have control of the fuel point that the house looks over, which frankly is slightly surprising to me. I would have expected that house to be occupied, not this house, obviously, the house we're not looking at, this house, to be occupied once you've taken the fuel from your opponent and you just want to set up camp there. This is going to be really bad. Okay, good getting out on that side of the house. That's definitely where you want to make the retreat. If he loses the Shrek squad, that'll be bad, because that's all you had versus the Steward, except the Puma. So pretty straight up meta choices made right here. You see a Stewart, you get something with a gun big enough to shoot the Stewart, but really the German player is hurting. Oh god, did my game crash? No, the German player just quit. I assume the German player quit. It doesn't say there's a little AI thing taking over, but yeah, German player really out of options at this point. Very valiant fight for a while, but Paul just excellent aggression, excellent setting up shop in this house for so much of the time, really limiting the Germans' options in terms of how they could use the Kubelwagen near the beginning of the game, and then in terms of how much of a hold they could have on this part of the map. Oh god, my computer. On how much a hold they could have on this part of the map. If you recall, really the fight started to turn really bad when the Volksgrenadiers over here just got fucking wrecked, and that happened because we had some riflemen deep in enemy territory that closed the pocket on these guys and they got wiped out. So that was a really excellent tactical move. I'd rewind your YouTube video to watch that if you can, and I hope you've enjoyed watching this shoutcast. I will end it here, and I'll see you on the Golden Gate Bridge, where we will kiss once and never again.